What up, everybody? It's your boy, Coach Heavy Hands, and I am back with some breaking news. In case you haven't heard, the PFL has acquired Bellator. Bellator, MMA's number 2 promotion, has been acquired by the number 3 promotion, PFL, in what is an all equity, meaning there's no cash. No cash trade changed hands for this deal. It was all stock. So now the parent company of Bellator, Paramount, is now a minority, a very small minority owner of the PFL, and all of the fighters in Bellator are going over to the PFL. And guys, if anybody's shocked or anybody's sad, I've heard a couple of sentiments like that, you know, oh my God, this is sad. There are fewer options for fighters nowadays, and oh my God, Bellator was hitting its stride. I've seen a couple of these comments out there, and I'm trying to tell you, Bellator has been mismanaging talent for years.
To this day, to this day, to this day.
I want to point you in the direction of Michael Venom Page, which is the biggest example of Bellator just squandering talent. That guy at one point was on a run that had the MMA world buzzing. He was knocking people out and putting on highlight reels like you'd never seen. His highlight reels are still phenomenal. If you go look at a Michael Venom Page highlight reel, incredible. Bellator mismanaged that guy's career almost into the ground. Apparently he's been signed to the UFC. That's not the point of this video here, but I just want to point out, you know, Bellator needed to come to a conclusion here. Things weren't looking great. The recent cards, even if they were fun to watch, on paper they weren't engaging and weren't attracting people. So this is a great move for the future of Bellator. And it's not over for Bellator. Bellator has been acquired, but the brand will live on under the PFL. So what the PFL is going to do now is they're going to have one-off fights. So special fights that aren't related to their PFL season. So these are going to be Bellator fights, and in these fights the rules are even going to be different. You can elbow people in the head, for example, which you can't do in the PFL because PFL fighters have to fight 4 or 5 times a year in the season, so you can't risk getting hit by an elbow, getting a cut, and taking yourself out of the season. So elbows are not allowed in the PFL. Elbows would be allowed in Bellator. Forgive me if you can hear my cat in the background. Another thing, Bellator, under these Bellator events under the PFL, you can wear whatever clothing you want. You don't have to wear the Bellator or the PFL standard gear. Fighters will now have the opportunity to bring in advertisers and get a few more dollars under these Bellator fights, which is a win for them, and that's a win for us. You know, happy fighters making more money is a win for everybody in general. Oh, one thing I wanted to touch on is Dave himself. Is that his name here? Hold on one second. Don Davis. Don Davis is who I'm thinking about. I watched an interview today with Ariel Helwani on the MMA Hour. And, you know, just hearing Don Davis interact and answer questions from Ariel Helwani and interacting with Ariel Helwani, it's like a breath of fresh air. I can't explain it. Like whenever you see an interview with Dana White, you just feel like you're being lied to for however long the interview is going. It's like, I don't even watch Dana White interviews anymore because I know it's just BS that I'm listening to. Don Davis, if he can't say something, he'll straight up say, I can't tell you. It feels like he just is lying less because he's very transparent. He'll say, look, I can tell you this, but I can't tell you that. And here's what I can tell you in great detail. And he gives you a lot of detail. He looks forward to communicating with reporters and getting information out there. And maybe it's because he's newer to the game and Dana's been burned and he's kind of had it with the press, but this is a fresh approach to interacting with the public that I genuinely appreciate. And secondly, the PFL having this kind of meritocracy where, look, if you win, you move forward. If you lose, you don't. Like, no, like WWE, Conor McGregor loses 6 fights but still fighting for a championship. He's still 1 fight away from a belt type of thing going on. Like, I like that about the PFL, and I'm excited about this Don Davis leadership. So I wanted to dig in to the reaction from the street, just real quickly, see what's going on. The PFL basically making their announcement a few hours ago. This is truly breaking news. It just came out a couple hours ago that it's over for Bellator. And somebody, Adrian here, pointed out something super interesting and said, hey, the combined PFL roster, the new PFL Bellator roster now has 30% of its fighters that are ranked in the top 25, which is the same as the UFC. This is why Dana White you're starting to hear a lot more from Dana White. You're actually hearing a lot more from him because he is, PFL is a legit organization now. Like, they can put on their non-pay-per-view events will now be competitive with UFC fight nights. That's a big difference. Going on to Don't Call Me Miggy. What happens with all the fighters? Miggy, all the fighters are absorbed into Bellator. As we discussed, newly acquired Bellator fighters become part of the PFL platform. That's right. This is actually pretty cool to see. There's a lot of positivity out here. Badly in trouble, Dana White. Watch tons of fighters defect to PFL to have the freedom to do MMA and boxing. That's Last MMA Pro or whatever that name is. So what about the fight deal? Can we get it done? I don't know what the biggest retirement home in MMA history. I don't think so. Wix, I don't think so. I don't think this is the biggest retirement home in MMA history. I honestly think this is a legit strong competitor for the PFL or for the UFC. There's some real fighters over there, and they have the ability, they have the pockets to attract more. I haven't seen a Bellator fight since they went to Showtime. If that doesn't change, it won't matter who owns them. Yeah, Bellator has been going downhill, man. It's crazy to see how strong, how great a reputation Scott Coker seemed to have with and what he appeared to be able to do with Strikeforce. He just couldn't get it done with Bellator. Two different times in the MMA industry. UFC definitely is stronger than it was back then, and that might be the entire reason why. But in general, you're seeing a lot of positivity to this announcement. Won't go too far into it. I don't want to make a whole reaction video. I just wanted to see what in general people were seeing from Twitter. Seeing out there on Twitter in response to Bellator's announcement. But I wanted to think, going into the future, like, what is the biggest fight we could possibly see coming out of this new organization, this new PFL and Bellator merge? And honestly, all of these fighters we just got, Patrici, Pitbull, AJ McKee, we got, whoever else has come over, the biggest Bellator star you can imagine that's coming over, but Ryan Bader, everybody. There is still, the biggest fight hasn't changed, and it's Francis Ngannou versus whomever. And honestly, if I had to vote, it would be Ryan Bader, especially with this Bellator merging. If we can get some seriously heavy, promotion behind it, make it official, Bellator's coming over here. If we can have a clash between Francis Ngannou and Ryan Bader and get another highlight reel KO from Francis Ngannou to kick off his career at PFL, boy, I think that would be a perfect play. And then let's have a second, the pay-per-view following that, Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz. I know that Nate Diaz seems to have been cooled off on that idea, but hope he's a man of his word and we can get that fight. Those are two banger headline pay-per-views we can get started here, you guys. To get started with the PFL under this new merged Bellator and PFL entity. You guys, I want to know what you think. What do you think about the merge? Do you have what's your favorite memory of Bellator? Do you think it's going to work out? What fight do you want to see? And what differences do you notice between Don Davis and Dana White? Do you think he's going to be a better leader, a better organizational leader here in MMA as a promoter? So let me know what you guys think. Until next time, I want to catch you on the flip side. Peace!